So gentlemen, we're looking at tea with a little difference here. You know, for many, chai is a delivery mechanism, a really delicious one, for medicine. You know how our heritage is, our food traditions grew up alongside the medicinal, the Ayurveda, the spices, and so on. And so, for us, the chai was essentially a way in which the mothers would also deliver the medicine to the children and so on. And it still happens to this day. And I can tell you that at our School of Tea, we had Dr. Tissa Amarakon from the Tea Research Institute, and he explained a simple truth that if you want to combat viruses, you need to strengthen your immune system, and one great way of doing it is drinking tea, because tea has flavonoids. So tea began as a medicine, it evolved into the beverage that it is today. But when you add spice to tea, when you add cinnamon and cardamom, clove, turmeric and so on, you're creating something altogether different and, whilst delicious, also very medicinal. So we've been working on a few that we're going to come out with in 2020. It's a big year for us.
Yeah.
My father's 70th year in tea and his 90th birthday. And so I thought, what better opportunity than this to do some tasting. Now the first is Tropical Breakfast, and it is a combination of a tea from Talwakali region, the Dilmah Valley, where we've combined it with roasted coconut, turmeric, a little bit of pepper, to activate the turmeric, and we've got a finish of Sri Lankan vanilla. Now, please give it a try and see what you think.
Aromas are already there.
Isn't it magnificent?
The room is full, and it's not just one aroma, it's like a combination. It's like a flavor bubble. I don't have to smell, I can, just standing here, it's there. It's incredible. And the color of turmeric. And that's something I learnt too recently, is that black pepper activates turmeric.
Yes.
It's interesting.
So you've actually got a lot of products out there which have turmeric, which have no pepper in it, which are not going to give you much in terms of health benefits.
And the color of the liquor is incredible too. The beautiful golden comes out.
This might sound a bit weird, but you can smell the texture.
Yes.
When you smell a almost velvet-like touch to it, even before it comes onto the palate.
That's the turmeric.
And then you drink it, and then there it is, the mouthfeel, and it was amazing that the texture is already in the aroma.
And it's balanced. It's really, really well balanced. And if you ask me what to cook with it, I've been cooking with this for the last month. There are so many things. I think the first thing I think about with this is golden milk.
How would you extract it first, Peter?
How would you extract this? Well, depending on...
Would you brew it in the normal way? Or
you brew it in the normal way. You can add it as a slow infusion. You can, say in the case of a hollandaise, when I had the reduction, I actually put tea into it and reduced it so that we had vinegar and wine, which, you know, normally you'd think would bang this around a lot. But it actually came through over the top of those. So you had the acidity, which is probably, if anything's missing in this, not that it should have it, is acidity. So when I put the wine and the vinegar into it, good quality malt vinegar, you ended up having the perfect balance of sweet and sour. And that's, for culinary, that's perfect. And then sweet-wise, it's easy. You either slow infuse it into cream or milk or coconut cream. That actually worked really well. And I guess the thing that you do is you look at the ingredients, the turmeric, the vanilla, and the coconut, and work from there. And it was quite easy. It was beautiful.
So Robert, what we did with this, when we designed this, we designed it so that the tea is the base. It gives it certain body and intensity, but the turmeric gives it the texture. And then it evolves to the richness of the coconut. And then finally, the spice in the turmeric comes through. So the vanilla subdues the turmeric because it is spicy. And so now you should be getting some of the spice coming through at the middle of your tongue.
So the turmeric actually works on different levels?
Absolutely does. It comes through in aroma, the aroma that you said, it's turmeric, then it comes through on the texture, and finally the spice peeps out kind of at the end. Yes.
That is, to me, if I would make a drink out of this, this actually takes me to a punch. Punch is the mother of the cocktail. Tea was already a very common ingredient in punches, but they added all different kinds of spices. Now, if this is the base of your punch, it already gives you like a spice mix to begin with. So it's a very, very convenient, top quality ingredient for a punch. And punch is a social drink. It's a drink. It's a shared drink. Tea is a social drink, a drink you share. So there's a great story there connecting as well. Punch is the first thing that comes to mind.
Wonderful. And so a healing punch. That sounds good.
Yeah. Well, punches were sort of heal the mind, and but at the same time, the spices. I mean, in those days, people would spend months on a boat without access to many fresh ingredients. So they needed to consume a lot of spices just to keep their health going. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who drank a punch was concerned about the health at that time, but it really does add to the drink itself.
And I think, Dilhan, the great thing here is the addition of the coconut and the vanilla into the turmeric, because everyone, I recall calling you a few years ago and saying everyone in Samoa is drinking turmeric tea. And it's basically turmeric brewed with water, nothing else. But the addition of the tea, obviously, and then the other two, the coconut and the vanilla, make it even more healthy than just drinking pure turmeric, which is pretty hard to do.
It's a nice layered experience. Yeah. But you know, something that everyone does is you consider chai to be a milky kind of a tea version of a latte. What we are doing is we're tasting them straight, the way that they should be. So of course you have the option of using warm frothed milk of whatever machine you're using, but we're trying to keep it pure to taste exactly the ingredients that are in there, and then it's your option. Do you want it creamy? Do you want it pure and straight like we're having now? So now this...
Can I just add one more thing? Sorry. To this, it has a natural sweetness. You wouldn't want to add any sweetness to it at all. I think that's the vanilla, right? It's coming through.
That's the coconut.
And the coconut, yeah. It does. It's a natural sweetness.
If I can make a suggestion, skip the milk and find yourself a good rum.
You would, wouldn't you? You would say that.
Well, no, honestly, we're talking vanilla here, right? We're talking coconut, turmeric. All three go very well with rum. Rum is sugarcane based, so you get a sweet touch as well. But that tea is actually made for rum.
I think that's a great suggestion.
I don't mind that at all. Makes me climb coconut trees, but then there's coconuts in it, so maybe I won't.
Just don't consume before 5.
Yeah,
right,
well,
okay,
but also the good thing is I can tell Serena that I'm drinking tea when in fact it's going to be a powerful punch.
And now that trick has been used since the 1920s onwards.
Yeah. But this is tea. It's tea. Why not? Okay, so now we're going to try something different. Moringa. It's a beautiful ingredient and it's abundant in Sri Lanka. It has a savory note. It is obviously very vegetal, and it's kind of difficult to combine into a tea.
Okay, so there's a lot of Sri Lankan blood on this table. I have never heard of a moringa. Can you explain to me what a moringa is? What does it look like?
Moringa is a leaf that it grows everywhere. It's a tree. It is a detoxifying agent. Mm-hmm. It is also an anti-inflammatory. It is a superfood because it is so very good for human health. So it is not only antioxidants, I mean, it's a plant, and we have used it in ancient times. You can explain how we use it in shellfish.
Well, yeah. The tree's long, very tall, and it has long pods, which are also edible. Fantastic. The leaves are tiny. They're like a fingernail. And so the branch has many, many leaves. And in the Sri Lankan crab curry or prawn curry, you finish it with the fresh leaves. And it also adds acidity as well.
Yeah, because if you would describe the flavor of moringa, what?
I think it adds acid. It'll be interesting to see what it's like into it in a tea, but fresh, I feel it gives it a you know when you get that little feeling in the back of your mouth when you eat something that's quite fruity and live, that's what you get. It's lovely, and it's so, you know, there are some spices, or what would you call this? Is it a spice, Moringa? A herb. So there are some herbs that are hard to eat raw that you might have to do something with, say a clove. I mean, I love cloves and they're beautiful, but you kind of need them to be softened. Whereas this, you could eat it. You could just strip it off the tree and eat it. It's not bad. Make juices with it, smoothies with it, very versatile. And you know, this massive tree with all these leaves, I think people will just walk underneath them and never look up to see the superfood above them. So it's great that it's going into tea now. It's stunning.
And it's also been used where the root system adjacent to water that might need cleaning, where it actually detoxifies. So it's very potent in that way. It was part of an ancient complex of biodiverse cleaning, of purification of water, because in Sri Lanka we had that in 3 BC, when you guys were still hanging out in the caves. We were out here, we were purifying our water. So let's try. Let's see what the kings saw in this. Please try some.
It's amazing to think where they learnt all of this. How it's just ancient.
Trial and error.
Yeah, and lots of food tasters.
See, it's a very different one.
Wow.
It's you get the spicy note from the turmeric. You get the savory. It comes at exactly as Peter described, the back of your tongue. You can feel the moringa.
It's fresh though. It has a wonderful freshness, but what's the word? It's like herbaceous.
A white peppery touch to it as well.
There is a bit of pepper in there for the turmeric, but you're right. It's that. Yeah, it's a spice, but that spiciness is coming from the turmeric.
Really?
And yeah.
That's stunning. It's really, really, really.
It's different.
Nice.
It's not a typical chai, but then we're not here to do typical things. So I'm glad you like that. It's different.
So let's just explain. A chai doesn't have to have milk in it.
No, absolutely not.
Right, because everybody thinks a chai is this milky, frothy thing.
That's because
that's a misconception for sure.
It's absolutely because what happened with the chai was in the early years when people came to chai understanding its benefits, it was misinterpreted, and in stores you suddenly got this instant tea with powdered milk and lots of flavor, which is an easy sell, but it's not the authentic thing. It's not the real thing. So what you're tasting is the real thing.
And chai in Hindi means tea. Is that correct?
It means tea. Yes, exactly. And in many other languages, cha, etc., and so on. So in Russia.
Yeah, all through Southeast Asia, chai is referred to as tea.
Yeah. And then when it got to the West, they added milk and frothed it, and it became. Is that
when the Brits were in colonial times, they would say chai, but for them, tea was tea with milk.
Yes.
And so hence the association of chai and.
So did the chai wallahs, say in India now, when they have the earthenware pots, did they learn that the milk and the sugar from the English?
The Brits, yes, very much so.
Right.
Very much so.
But they continued to add the spices, so the purity of it was there. Yes. It was just, yeah. I'm thinking chai without milk is amazing.
Okay, so now we've got a slightly different one. It's a similar tea, also from the Dimbula Valley, so it has some body, some oakiness, but it's got a combination also with spices. So it's got cinnamon, which Sri Lanka is known for her tea and her cinnamon, Indian sarsaparilla. It's incredibly fragrant, and it's light, but really incredibly fragrant. And then we added cloves and nutmeg just to balance it out. Now, you're going to be tasting the tiramisu in this very easily. It's somewhere in the middle. Just before the clove comes in, you get the warming of the clove. And now in your aftertaste, you should be getting some unidentified floral element in the middle. All those aromatics are from tiramisu, which is an incredible spice.
What does it look like?
It's a little flower. It's very unique. It's very special.
It just takes me back to the grandmother's kitchen and a pot of boiled chai that has a little bit of flavouring of the earthenware as well, and it's very
and it's naturally sweet. It tastes quite sweet, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But there's no sweetener in there. It's tiramisu.
It's very comforting.
It takes me back to your grandmother as well. No, the funny thing is, it's such a comforting combination.
It is.
It's warmth, it's coziness. It's a feeling you get when you smell it.
I love it.
You feel at ease straight away.
We didn't check the aroma, but you don't get much of the tiramisu in the aroma. You're getting a few spices, but it's in the aftertaste.
And there is like this very refreshing note in the middle. It's very.
That's tiramisu. It's sweet, it's floral, and it gives you that comforting edge.
It's a good balance again. Are you using the same base tea in these?
Yes.
Which is what?
Which is the Dimbula tea. It's from Great Western Somerset in that region.
So a fairly mid or high grown tea.
4,000 feet above sea level. Yeah. So it has some body, but it's not. It's not too intense.
A tea where you don't want to use milk.
Oh my goodness. Because you would immediately lose most of the elements.
You lose the tea. Right?
You'll end up with a clove tasting beverage. So you would lose the complexity. But you see, all of that sweetness and that floral, fruity note, it's all irmisu. And irmisu is also incredibly potent in Sri Lankan Ayurveda. It's one of the key ingredients. Not only to sweeten the concoctions that they make, but also, again, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, very, very powerful and detoxifying. Good. So now we come to one that's a little bit more up your street, Robert. It's a chocolate chili chai with a little bit of peppermint. So
Arriba.
there you go.
Take
There
it,
you go.
Mexico.
That's it. So just nose that. It's got a lovely nose.
Stunning.
So that's Sri Lankan cocoa. So it's all the real authentic ingredients. And once you'll get the mint, obviously. The chili is very subdued, and there's a combination of spices.
That's nice to have the combination of heat and cool at the same time, because the heat happens on the back of your palate, while the cooling of the mint is in front, or actually all around, especially when you breathe in.
The chili's here.
Yeah.
And that's peppermint. The peppermint is not from Sri Lanka, but the cocoa is, and Sri Lankan cocoa isn't the most refined, which in this case is an advantage because it's quite raw in its taste.
And you know, if you put these two together, this one you would never put milk with, this one easily, and kids would drink that all day. Chocolate and mint, it's the favorite thing, but there's so many other good things in it too. The after flavor is incredible. What's left in your mouth is stunning.
And the cooling, the mint, the menthol.
This does have dessert written all over it.
Oh, easy. I could rattle off 20 things right now.
Yes, can you rattle them off in our ears so that we can share with
Yeah,
our
sure.
viewers?
Pineapple, chocolate and mint. Maybe you can infuse that into the chocolate and then dip pineapple into it. Obviously, anything chilled, cold, you do an ice cream, a sorbet. Anything with cream, so creme brulees. I was thinking it'd be really interesting to try and do a watalapan infusing because you've got the jaggery and you've got the coconut cream. What else you could do? Obviously just chocolates. You could do a range of chocolates and then into the chocolates add different flavors. Ginger, maybe what's it called? Crystallized ginger, which could go into the chocolate, and then you've got everything else there. What else? I said 20. So 18 chocolates and the other 2.
Done. That was excellent. Thank you. What would your favorite be, Robert? Don't tell me one for every occasion, for different occasions.
Yeah, well, if I have to choose, it would be
The turmeric moringa.
yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Really?
Yes. But if you allowed us 2 and one with milk and one without, then it'd be... No, actually, I wouldn't put milk in anything except that one. If you were feeding it to a kid, I would prefer all of them without milk. I agree with Robert. But this is pretty amazing as well.
And you know, the point that we're trying to make in this line, which to most people is not a chai line. What we're trying to make is that this is real chai.
Yeah.
Chai is not about powdered milk, not about the instant frothy, quick
That
mixes.
bothers me so much. That so many people think that chai comes out of a sort of a can, powder, add hot water, stir, and that's a chai.
So now it's sold in sachets, and you put it, and you're not sure whether it's in the tea category or in the coffee category. You're not sure what it is because it's all instant.
But it would also not help as big as it can be, because to me, chai, especially the version with milk, what cappuccino did for coffee, chai can do for tea, right? But not when it's an instant powder. Just add water. The careful selection of the tea, the careful combination of the spices, and bringing that together, where you have both like exquisite taste and health properties, where you have like a 5,000, some say a 9,000-year-old history of combining spices. If you want to pay tribute to that, you do it like this. Yep. And if you want to really appreciate all this goodness, this is the way to do it, and this is the way to present it as well.
How about if instead of the standard milk, you do a coconut cream? So you do coconut, coconut water, a little bit of lemon, but you wouldn't have to use a lemon, and you charge it, and then you bring it out and you put it in so it's actually spoonable, and you can float the coconut on, and any one of these could take a little bit of unsweetened, thick coconut cream on top, I would think.
You shouldn't have said that, Peter, because I'm going to ask you to do that now, because our viewers, they need to see you doing it.
Easy. It's easy. I mean, on the cheesecake I did today, I didn't comment on this, and it is a favourite for sure, but I've been eating, drinking, tasting and making recipes out of this for the last 2 months. So I know it so well, but when I first tried this, it blew me away, because it was just, as I said, I walked into the room, there were 4 chais lined up here, but this came through firstly to fill the room with an incredible aroma. It doesn't need sugar and works so well with food, but to drink as it is, it's again that, you know, all of these make me feel comfortable. Yes. And that's part of it, right? It's like so many things in food and beverage. If you can sit down and think and relax, something relaxing is amazing. I tell everybody that, you know, in the 3 to 5 minutes, what are you brewing these for, 3 or 5?
These are all brewed for 5 minutes. You really need to get the guts out of it. You need to get the strength out.
Yeah, but the intensity on the palate doesn't feel like a 5-minute brew.
That's why I asked what tea it was, because it was interesting.
No, but you have to remember that in each of these, typically when you go into a store in Holland or Australia, you're going to find chais that have 1% of this and 2% of this. This is not like that. Here we've got 40 to 60% of the ingredients. So the tea is actually less than, it's around 40 to 50%. So you're not getting a lot of tea. It can't carry all of this.
So it's sort of half tea, half infusion.
Absolutely, because for us, you know, my father made a commitment to integrity. Yeah. So when we offer a chai, we have to make sure that it delivers on a consumer expectation of, okay, chocolate and chili, cinnamon. It's got to have it. And we're not going to be reliant on flavors. It needs to have the real thing in there.
So I was to ask you how long it takes to brew, because I tell everybody in the 5 minutes that it takes to brew this, put your phone down, turn the TV off, turn the music off, turn to each other and have a conversation. And that's, to me, the beauty of tea. And the brewing time is there to obviously make the tea perfect. But more than that, I think it's there to enable us to engage in conversation. And I think if we can build those two together, 5 minutes a day, you know, especially in the morning when everyone's running around and they're trying to do things and, you know, the dog's barking and we're screaming at each other, everyone stop. When we have a cup of tea at home, everyone stops. We sit and we have 3 to 5 minutes, quiet conversation. And it's amazing what it does for you. And then obviously drinking the beverage is part of it. So that ritual becomes part of it. And now, incredible herbs and spices in here too.
I agree with you partially. I mean, you can use those 5 minutes to share a conversation, or you can use those 5 minutes just for you.
Oh, for sure.
And that is how I.
You know, Linda wouldn't be happy with what you just said.
No. She's actually happy that I just.
Oh, really?
Stop talking for 5 minutes, and I'm just sitting down. Yeah, exactly. No, but when I. For a very long time, I would brew a cup of tea. No, I would start brewing a cup of tea. I would do something else, walk away, and before you know, the 3 to 4 to 5 minutes have passed and overbrewed.
Yes.
So actually, and for a tea professional, I had quite a few overbrewed cups. Yeah. It was simply because I started to do something else while the tea was brewing, and now I stay close to the tea. I may do a few things, but I don't lose sight of the time and the tea. And then when I have my tea, I take a moment for myself and enjoy that tea when it's at its best. And really, I'm in my own bubble for a few minutes until I finish the cup. And after that, I join in whatever we're doing again. But to me, tea is very often a moment where that is just for me. So that is that's why I always, there's 2 moments when you drink tea. Either when you share tea, or you keep it to yourself. And when you keep it to yourself, you're mostly reflecting, thinking something over, trying to come to a decision. And when you share it, you share stories, you listen to each other. So it's either very, very social, at the same time, it's also an individual experience.
So I wake before my household wakes every morning. I'm up by 5. No one else except the dog. And I do, you know, I didn't even think of that, but yeah, I do that. When I brew the tea, I have a timer. I don't go anywhere. I actually watch it, and the 3 to 5 minutes passes in a wonderful amount of time. I mean, 3 minutes of public speaking can sometimes be excruciating, but actually to have 3 to 5 minutes quiet house, nothing else going on, and then sit down. I don't, my wife comes, turns the TV on, watches the news, whatever, but by then I've already had my first cup. And then I have to fight them all on the second cup to be quiet and do what I just said before. So yes, a bit of selfishness is good too, or what's it called? Not selfishness, but reflection, self-reflection is a very, very nice thing.
Calibration
Yes.
for the day.
Yes,
Do you like the cups?
love them.
You know, Dilmah stands for 3 things principally, a lot of things, but taste and goodness, we talked about that, but also the purpose. So these are made by ladies of the who benefit from the MJ Foundation, part of a Mankada project, and to us it was a perfect combination. So we worked with them to design these so that we can integrate some benefit for the community and make it into a perfect circle.
I visit them every year, Dilhan, and I go there sometimes twice a year. I take people from overseas there, and every year you can see how these people have just grown and how their lives have changed, and then the creativity. I mean, every time I go there, there's new products and there's new creations that they've made. So and a very proud group of people.
Next time you go, there'll be a completely new venue, and it'll be very nice.
Wow.
So I think on that note, cheers.
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 And cheers to our viewers.
Cheers.